Hey guys, this is the next installment of our Group Leader Insights, and like we said a couple of weeks ago, we're going to be going through kind of talking about and teasing out what our 4 metrics of health are. We have a DNA statement that we want to define all of our groups, and that is that we want to be gospel communities on mission to make disciples all over our city. And the way we sort of figure out if we're kind of hitting that mark is through our 4 DNA distinctives. Last week we talked about what it looks like and what it means to be gospel-centered. I encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. And this week we're talking about what it means to be an authentic community. Jesus said in John 13:35 that the world around us, a watching world, is going to know that we belong to Jesus, and they're going to see something distinct about us by how we love one another. Not by how we love people who aren't a part of the family of God, but how the family of God treats one another will stand out to a watching world. So that's the first thing that we want to be as a community before we strive to be on mission. So from Jesus' teaching to us, what we learn is the quality of our community is going to determine our capacity for mission. If we don't have a healthy family, then there's really nothing for those who are considering the claims of Christ to be attracted to. There's really nothing that they would want to be a part of. What if our lives are falling apart, if our family is dysfunctional, then why would they want to come in and be a part of that together? And so, of course, we'll always have our sin. In fact, 1 John teaches us that he who thinks he's without sin is a liar and the truth of God is not in him. That's exactly why our groups have to be authentic, have to be a safe place to struggle together, to sin and confess that sin and repent and be walked in restoration together with those who are pursuing the Lord in our gospel community group. So that's what authenticity means in a nutshell. And one thing I wanted to do is invite one of our group leaders who's been leading for a couple of years and working this out and has seen God move in his group to bring about a sense of family, bring a sense of authenticity to their group, and that's Tim Moreau. So I want to have Tim Moreau share a few thoughts with you today.
So in my experience, developing a sense of community is not in and of itself very difficult. Just spending time together will naturally lend itself towards building community. And you can see this if you've ever been on a missions trip or if you've ever been on a sports team. The time that you spend together naturally lends itself towards building community. What's difficult, however, is building a sense of community that is authentic and deep and goes beyond just the surface level. In my group, we really had to spend a season of time just praying and dreaming about what community would look like for us, looking through the book of Acts to see what we saw there. What we landed on was we really wanted to share life experiences together. We wanted to go through everyday, regular life and just be together and be committed to one another. We're trying to be committed to really pursuing Christ in one another. So for us, community really started long before we got to Tuesday nights. And then when we got to Tuesday nights, we continued to foster that community in various ways. And one of the most practical ways that I can think of is by sharing a meal together. And it's more than just sharing a meal. You might share a meal, you might go out to a restaurant and eat a meal with a business partner or with a coworker. You might even bring some friends over to your house to share a meal, but something happens when you cook a meal together. You really don't see people cooking a meal together unless they're family. And so in our community group, we try to cook a meal together every week. We make a big old mess. Everyone gets involved. Everyone takes a part in this. And as a result, we get to be family together.
So as Tim was talking, I hope that you heard that this is a process that takes time, and for them it took a couple of years for many of the folks in their community group to get up to speed and for them to become the kind of family that would be a safe place for those who are exploring Christ or those who are new to Christ to kind of meet Jesus in their midst. And so be patient, let the Lord do what he needs to do in his timing to form community. Authentic, safe family environments are the quality of community we're going for, and that will determine our capacity to live life on mission to make disciples. So thank you for leading. We love you, and we'll talk to you more in the future.